Greetings, my name is Matt Otremba and I'm the Director of Training and Development for Academic Affairs. In this video, I will give you some tips for navigating this guide, which is entitled Fostering Presence, the Human Element, and the Community of Inquiry Framework. The first thing I'd like to point out is that for easy reference, all the pages in this guide are included in this ribbon of tabs toward the top. Most of the pages are standalone pages, but this last page, the 2014 Academic Symposia, does have some drop-down pages as well. Next, I'd like to highlight this phrase, flipping the symposia. Similar to flipping the classroom, we're trying to flip the symposia by providing you, through this guide, with a body of knowledge that you can apply during the symposia events and sessions. And this applies both to the place-based and virtual symposia. So we think that you will have a more meaningful and enriching experience if you complete this guide and work your way through it. So we strongly encourage that you make your way through this guide prior to attending one of the symposia, or at least make your way through as much as you can. Additionally, we are offering in-service credit, one Rasmussen Educational Unit credit, for completing various components of this guide. Now, all of those areas that are needed to be completed for the REU credit are in gray box headers with white font. So you can see them toward the top here. Additionally, they have the words REU required in them. You can contrast that with the light gray boxes with the dark font, the darker font. It doesn't mean that these light gray boxes aren't important. It just means that they're not required for the REU credit. We wanted to keep the REU required content to around 60 minutes approximately, so we had to select the content which we thought was necessary for that. I do encourage you to explore the non-required content as well. Next, I want to point out that under the human element and the COI framework page, this is where you'll find most of the REU required content. This page really identifies what the human element is, why it's important to higher education, why we should care, as well as looks at something called the Community of Inquiry Framework, which is visualized here. And this framework was designed to provide a way of thinking about how do we optimize a learning experience, particularly in online learning, but also in residential learning. And it says that to do that, we really need to have the convergence of 3 types of presence. It's really fascinating stuff, and you can learn more about it in this guide. Specifically, there are 3 brief articles here that highlight in easy to understand language what these types of presences are and what they look like, particularly in an online course. Next, I want to point out the faculty wall. This is my favorite page in the guide. There are a number of videos and digital media elements on this page from faculty as well as academic affairs staff that share best practices for fostering presence in the human element. If you are completing the in-service for this guide, the requirements for this page are outlined here and tells you how many you need to watch and which ones. So do look for that. I'll just scroll down here so you can see the variety of media elements that are included here. Again, there's some great stuff on this page, and I recommend you explore all of it to the extent that you can. Next, I want to highlight the Activities tab. There is a required activity, a survey to be completed for the REU credit, so you need to complete that if you're looking for the in-service credit. And additionally, there's some other optional activities that you can explore and do to dive deeper into the content of this guide. Next, I'll highlight the 2014 Academic Symposia tab. This tab really highlights how you can get involved through social media leading up to, during, and after the symposia events and sessions themselves. So it highlights some ways that we are utilizing social media. And I also want to point out the use of guidebook, the digital guidebook that we're using this year instead of a paper copy. So you do need to bring your devices to the symposia, especially the place-based one. And there are some social media components to that guidebook, and they're mentioned here. Next, I'll highlight the Tweet Your Way to the Symposium page. We're devoting a whole page to Twitter and how you can get involved in that. I do want to point out that Heather Zink is hosting a webinar in the coming weeks called Tweet Your Way to the Symposium, and I encourage you to check that out. Heather has some great ideas of how you can get involved through Twitter. Lastly, I want to point out the AAOPD calendar. You'll be able to find all of the webinars that we're offering here, as well as the virtual symposium sessions. When they are ready to be uploaded, we will include them in this calendar, and you can find them there. So that concludes this video. I hope it's very helpful. I hope you all have fun exploring this guide, and I can't wait for the conversations that come at the symposia, both the place-based and virtual. Take care.